Good morning. Building Connections Doral Talks. I'm your host, Betty Gonzalez. So you just bought your home, your dream home 2 years ago, and life has changed. That now you find yourself in a challenge of having to sell your dream home because of a job relocation, because of some sort of happening in your family. However, you live in a brand new community and you're competing with the brand new construction and the new constructions that are still going on in this community. In this episode of Building Connections That I'll Talks, we're going to cover the challenges that you might be facing. We're going to cover how you might still have a chance and some of the strategies that you need to use to sell your home in this kind of environment. Also, I want to share with you that 40% of people that buy houses of homeowners sell within the first 5 years. So if many of you are in this situation, I'm going to tell you how you could potentially tackle it and some of the downfall and the downsides or the challenges that you might still face. I'm going to tell you that my husband and I, we actually felt in a position like this. This happened to us. This happened to us back in 2015. So let me tell you. So if you didn't know, I was in the military for 22 years. Back in 2015, I was going into my last overseas duty assignment that I personally had, I was thinking about when I was going to retire. So I was like, this is going to be my last overseas duty assignment because by the time I go there and come back, I'll be at 19 years and I was trying to retire at 20 years. So as a family, we made a decision, my husband and I, that we wanted to move to Florida. So we decided, hey, since I'm going to be overseas, we might as well move to Florida, move the family to Florida and get the kids stable and already going into the school that they're going to go. So when I come back, I do my last year and then you're already stable there in a new community. So what did we do? We've already knew this. We did our due diligence and we started to build our dream home. I am telling you, I loved this house. Our house was the very first one that was built that big in that community, which that was another story because it was a problem when the appraisal came. So what happened, we built our house. It took longer than expected. We were moving in the summer of 2015. They said it will be done by the end of the year. So we were hoping, at least my husband was hoping to have Thanksgiving and Christmas in the brand new house because we were on the contract in February, but they didn't really start the construction until May of that year. They said they would be done around October, which by the way, we did not close on that house until June of 2016, almost more than a year than when they started the construction. So keep that in mind if this is something that you're planning to do. Always calculate twice the amount that they tell you, because if anything happens, either because of the weather, delay on the supply of that they're going to use for the construction, anything could happen that could delay. They can project, but at the end of the day, things could happen. They could have delays on the permits from the city, just anything. You want to account for twice the amount if they do it within the 6 months, 9 months, or whatever time frame they gave you. More kudos to them. But however, to keep your sanity, please make sure that you account for twice the amount of the time that they tell you. Because of that, my husband got a short-term rental for 6 months and he just gave himself some wiggle room and he did 3 extra months for 9 months. Well, they extended it one time and then my husband had to move one more time from the place that we were in. While I was in Korea, he was with the 2 kids and my mother at the time. And then it was crazy because then they would not extend our lease and we had to go to another place and then move to this property. It was a lot of delays. A long story short, we ended up trying to sell this house right in 2018, only less than 2 years from when we first closed on the house. But what happened? My property that we built was a very, very, very first house built that big in that community, to the point that they didn't even have the models built when we built ours. Ours was built before they even had the model. And so what is the challenges? The challenges that you are going to have, this is you, and you're trying to sell your house. Okay, by the way, the reason that we decided to sell was because the Army decided not to bring me back to Florida. Instead, they sent me to Alabama, which is another story that will take forever. I ended up in Alabama, and by this time, we were going to be separated as a family for too long, and we decided that it was not worth it, and we wanted to come to be together. And then we brought the family, my husband, the kids, everything. We went to Alabama, and we were going to try to rent our property. But remember, this was our dream home. It was a 5 bedrooms, 4 bathroom house with a little casita, a home within a home there, over 4,000 square feet. That was not a house to rent. That was a house to live in. And we chose the wrong property manager, which had our house vacant for over 2 months. And then we decided to sell it. Okay. So now let's go back and tell you the challenges that you are going to be facing if this is you. Okay. Well, I think I'm live. I hope I am. And I hope that you're hearing to what I'm saying. You're listening to what I'm saying, because I know that there's a lot of people. Let me mute the site so other things does not distract us. I know there's a lot of people that are in this situation. So these are some of the challenges that you're going to have. You're going to have the challenges that the builder are your direct competition. And by the way, they're going to have the same amount of homes that you yourself bought. And now you have to compete with them. That, by the way, they have brand new houses and they still have the 1 year guarantee or warranty on the property if something does not work properly. That's the first thing. The second thing that you're going to have is that people like new. Now your house is now a lived-in house, and the builder offers incentives toward closing costs. Sometimes they give incentives to have a lower interest rate, and they offer you upgrades, right? Sometimes, especially if they know that now there's going to be resales coming on the market. They are your direct competition. You are going to have sometimes the challenge that the motorhome might show better than your own house, and that they have it available all the time for potential buyers to see. So those are some of the challenges that you might have. And then you have to try to come up with solutions of how you're going to position your property in a way that is more appealing to the new buyers. That's the advantage that the new constructions will have over you. Now, what are the advantages that you might have as a brand new seller in a resale community that actually has brand new construction? Well, the advantage for you is the following: that the construction has a longer wait time for when the buyer that's trying to move into this community and it's not guaranteed. Because if they haven't built the model that you have, then they will have to wait for it. Even if they're offering incentives, but the house is not built yet and they need a house now, for example, because of the job relocation or because they want to be moved in and settled before the new school year happens, then you have an advantage over the builder. And also remember, most builders, if you do an upgrade in your property, because this is some of the advantages that we had. I'm going to tell you some of the challenges that we had, okay? Because we actually had to come up with money to the closing table. We lost, I would say, around $50,000 on this property, okay? But this is something that you as a family have to decide what's better for you and where you want to take your losses, okay? So I'm not going to tell you that you will always win, but you could win. It depends, okay? It depends on what you're looking for or what you need. So the advantage that I talk about is that potentially they don't have to wait. And usually builders build by sections. So let's say they have phase 1, they have phase 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right now, since you've been in this property for 2 years, that means that they were building for probably 6 months to a year to build the first section. Let's say if you're in the first phase, and now they're into phase 3 or 4. The advantage that you have over these other new constructions that are still being built is that your area of the community has already been established, has already been lived in. The streets are already clean. You don't have to live doing a construction site because your section is already done and has been lived in. And now it has the vegetation and is more mature and is starting to form how the community is going to look like. Also, if you did get upgrades, like I was talking earlier, then those upgrades, if you had some in your property, most communities ask you to pay upfront for these upgrades. For my experience, we had to pay 75% of the value. So let's say we put in impact windows in this property. We got a bigger island. That was an upgrade. We had a sink put into the washer and dryer room, into the laundry room. We had a sink put in. That was an upgrade. We had a bigger pantry. We had a pantry put in. That was an upgrade. Those are the upgrades that I remember. And we had that upgrade at that time was only $25,000. We had the upgrade of building the home within a home, which means it had a bathroom, separate bathroom, a separate bedroom, the kitchen area with the living room and washer and dryer. And it had a private entrance. So that was an upgrade for that model home. All of those upgrades, we had to pay upfront in cash to be able to get those built. So if this is you and you had those upgrades done to your property, now it's already baked into the market value of the property, and the new buyers that could potentially buy your property, now they don't have to come up with those cash to get the same upgrades with the new build, because your house already has it and the value is already built into the property. So when you come in and finance the property, now you can finance that money, that amount into the loan, rather than having to put out of pocket, which was that's what happened to us. And it gave us an advantage over the builder at that time, not an advantage on value, because the house are worth what they're worth in the eyes of the buyer, right? You need to get that clear. We were not going to get every penny that we put into that property. What we did get was the market appreciation of 2 years, because now they had demand and they have set a market value for the property, which we knew was around $525,000. That's what we knew. Now, when we sold the house at that price, or we were trying to get the money out of the house, we knew that whatever upgrades we put, it was for our enjoyment. We just didn't live there long enough to get our money's worth, to then gain equity. We got enough equity to kind of not come out of pocket more than what we did. So that's what happened. And that's some of the advantages that you would have. Now, what is the strategy? The strategy to you is, because we were competing with the builder directly, and the builder was offering closing costs and they were offering newness, right? Nobody have lived in this property, maybe closer to the clubhouse, depending on the location, right? We were a little farther because we started building and they were building away, not closer to the amenities. So we offer incentives, because when we put the upgrades that we knew we were going to be a challenge later. We left the ones that we knew we could do it after we lived in. And one of them was the flooring. We did not upgrade flooring, and we did not upgrade the countertops. We upgraded to a bigger island, and we then wanted to upgrade the kitchen with the countertops and granite and finishes that we wanted, because those were limited in the new builders, okay? But because of that, because it was more than $500,000 house at that time, back in 2016, back in 2018, people were expecting higher finishes. However, the safety ones were in place, which is the impact windows. Remember, you want to be smart about your improvements. Now, the problem was we never bought the house trying to sell it less than 2 years after buying the property. But that's what happened, okay? Life happens, and this could be you. And I'm just trying to give you pointers of what to actually do to mitigate and to trying to do strategies to try to come up in the up and up, okay? So what we did is we offered $10,000 towards incentive for concessions for the buyers so that they can upgrade the flooring to their desire, right? That's what we offer. And then we put the house on the market for $525,000, which on part of what the builder was asking without the upgrades. They were asking around the same price, but they didn't have the upgrades that we've already put in the cash. Then now the new buyer, if they were going to go to the builder, they were going to say, yeah, we offer it to you at $525, but we don't have the upgrades. You will have to put the upgrades. Oh, by the way, you're going to have to put in 75% cash up front before we can actually put those upgrades on your property. But ours already had those upgrades in, and the house was ready to move in because it was already vacant, right? And then we offer on top of that $10,000 credit towards the flooring so the new owners could put whatever floors they wanted. So guess what? Once we offered those, we were able to sell our house, but we were not able to get our monies back. We did not get able to. We did not sell with an upgrade. With the upside of getting equity, because it did gain equity, but not enough to get our money's worth. And as a matter of fact, on the closing table, we had to come up to $4,500, because remember, there's expenses when you sell a house. You have the closing costs, you have real estate commissions, which, by the way, my agent did very well because we were in Alabama and she was right here in Florida. And now we did not want to cut her commissions, okay, because she did very well and she earned each penny. She did, because we knew she was against the builder. Now, something else that you want to take into consideration right now, if you are in a brand new community that still have new construction homes, you want to be able to do a lot of open houses. I know it's inconvenient if you're still living in the property, but the reason you want to do that is because the builder, they have the model homes available for potential buyers to see all the time. So if they were to go to see the builders are not going to tell them, hey, by the way, they're selling another house down the road. Go look at that. No. And then you need a lot of marketing by your real estate agent, highlighting all of the benefits that they will have with your house versus the one that are still being built. But you as a seller have to determine how much tolerance you have for loss. If you end up losing, maybe you don't end up losing. Maybe you don't put as much upgrades. Our upgrades were very expensive. Like I said, we put impact windows. We added an extra little house. We did a lot of stuff because we knew, or that was our dream home. Okay. So if this is you, this is some of the strategies that you could use, or you can help your agent use to help you sell your house in a competitive market, because you will be competing against some big dogs. So let me show you this property that I was telling you about. This was my own. Let me pull it up so that I can show you. It wasn't easy to do this. It was really sad to do. Oh my goodness, where did it go? Okay, so let me share my screen and show you exactly how much it sold. Okay, so hopefully you see my screen. So this was the house. It was pretty modern, really pretty. Remember, I told you that it didn't have the best upgrades as far as the finishes on the kitchen, but it did have the big extra space with the extra cabinets at the bottom, and it didn't have upgrade flooring, okay? So it had carpets on some areas, but it did have these beautiful sliding doors that were all impact windows, and we have the extra little house. This is the home within a home. It has washer and dryer. It has a refrigerator, a personal sink, and let me see, it has a bathroom by itself and a separate bedroom. And this was 2 living rooms. You cannot tell really from these pictures, but this was a massive house. And the pictures could have been done a little better. But the property itself, so listen, we bought it. It shows $496,000 right here, right? When we closed in June of 2016, because it did not show, this was only what we financed, right? But remember, the properties, the updates and the upgrades that we did, those upgrades were paid 75% cash up front. So we only financed not the upgrades, but 25% of all of the upgrades. And then we turn around and sold it in April of 2018, not even full 2 years, for $525. Okay. So what I'm telling you is you could, and now if you look at it, this house could easily sell in the $900,000. And that comes to show you that even though we lost money on this property because we sold it way too fast. Over time, you always get your money back with real estate. And one key thing is that this is one investment, real estate, that you never lose 100% of your investment. We might have lost a little bit of money, but that was a risk we were willing to take because this was supposed to be our forever home. And yeah, we sold it 2018, but we didn't come back over here until 2020. Not that long after that, right? But hey, life changes. I retired. I didn't retire 20 years in. I retired 22 years in. And that would have been too long to not be together as a family. And we were not planning to come to Miami. We ended up coming back to Miami, but that was not the plan. And then we bought in the location that we're in now. And, things change. But what I want you to know is to don't feel despair. Don't feel like you're trapped. There's choices. Now you have to take into consideration, how do you feel about maybe losing a few thousands, or maybe not. Just what you need to do is talk to your real estate agent and try to come up with a strategy and tell them to give you choices and do all of the numbers to see if they make sense to you. And then be aware of what incentives those builders are giving the buyers so that you know what you're up against. Otherwise, you're going to be so stressed out and feel trapped that you don't even want to know what to do. All you need to do is have a strategy, talk to an agent. Don't be afraid. I know it could be intimidating, okay? But and a lot of people's like, I don't want to talk to a real estate agent because they might just pressure me to buy this house or to sell with them or whatever. No. Our job here is to educate you. And based on what you feel comfortable that we tell you, you still make the decision because you're the owner. This is your property. But it is our job to come out and do our best job to best represent you with the truth and tell you what it's going to take. Now, what you don't want is an agent to come to your house and tell you, oh yeah, let's put it whatever price, and then hoping and praying that somebody is going to come and put an offer, because that's not going to work out. You're just going to be stressed out all of this time and not have a person coming to buy or put an offer on your property. You want to tell them exactly how much money you put in, all of the upgrades you put in, and then get that agent to go and do the homework with the builder, or you yourself know what kind of things they even offer you 2 years ago. And then we see what they're offering now, what they're coming, if they're offering buy downs for the rate, if they're offering closing costs, if they're paying agents commissions. You want to know all of this and know all of your expenses to see if you're going to come on top, or if you're going to break even, or if you have to come out of pocket. But all what matters is to have the strategy and to know how much risks you're willing to take and how much loss, because remember, 2 years is not enough time to build equity unless you bought in 2020 and then you sold in 2022. But if you bought in 2022 and you're trying to sell now, it might be a different situation because now we have higher rates and we have more inventory, so it's more competition. So anyway, guys, I hope you got some info from us, some strategies, and I was able to help you with this podcast. Again, thank you for tuning in to Building Connections Doral Talks. I'm your host, Betty Gonzalez. Thank you for connecting today, and I see you next week. Have a great day and have a great weekend. See you next week, guys. Take care. Bye-bye. Real quick, calling all Doral professionals, entrepreneurs, and community influencers. Are you ready to showcase your business, share your knowledge and experience with our engaged audience? Building Connections Doral Talks invites you to become a guest speaker on our podcast. Share your unique perspectives and inspiring stories with our listeners. We believe in the power of your voice in shaping that conversations right here in Doral. Click the link below to submit your information and be part of our next episode. Join us in building connections, sharing knowledge, and growing together. Don't miss this opportunity to be a featured guest on Building Connections Doral Talks. Tune in, connect, share, and grow together with Building Connections Doral Talks, reshaping the way we engage with the diverse voices of Doral, one guest at a time. Doral Talks, your voice, our community. Click the link now on the show notes, the screen, or in the comments below, or just scan the QR code to submit your information as a guest. I hope to see you soon. See you in the next podcast. Bye.